there's 250 inmates on bleachers in the gymnasium, and I'm playing solo acoustic. I brought my speakers and set them up and played in the middle. And dude, it was unreal. You could hear a pin drop in there.
Hello everybody, from Frets and Fingers, I'm Alex Pickard and you're watching the Jam Sesh. Today we've got a Nashville sensation in the house, Ben Gallagher. A true maestro on the strings, this country music artist's boot-stomping guitar riffs are causing a social media craze. With a personality as genuine as his sound, Ben recently released a track that's making waves named Stomp. Get ready for a wild ride of stories, tunes, and the heart and soul of country music. Without further ado, let's welcome the filthiest hybrid guitar picker out there, Ben Gallagher.
What an intro. Dang, dude.
Hell yeah, man.
I appreciate it, dude. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for taking the time.
Of course. No, thank you for taking the time. And so I guess before we get into this, you want to just introduce yourself to the people who may not know you before we get chatting?
Yeah. My name is Ben Gallagher. I'm a country artist, songwriter, and guitar player based here in Nashville, Tennessee. And I'm originally from Pennsylvania and moved to Nashville in 2011. And been on the road and playing music pretty much every day professionally ever since. Made the move.
Awesome. All right, so I guess we'll fire off the first question. And just to preface this, you know, your hybrid picking is absolutely ridiculous, man. Like, I'm always blown away when I watch your content and see how smooth your middle and ring finger are on top of while you're picking. So maybe talk to me a bit about like your guitar playing style and how you got to where you are now, like whose music you were learning since you began playing to get you to the point where you've managed to kind of carve out your own style in the industry.
Man, I appreciate that big time. Yeah, I started playing guitar when I was 6, and I grew up strictly on 90s country. So that was, you know, digging back into who was playing a lot of the guitar work on that stuff was Brent Mason, the chicken picking man, you know. And so that's what gravitated me. And I didn't really, I mean, I had a handful of lessons early on, but it was a God thing, man. I mean, I feel like I was born to sing country music and play. I had a handful of lessons, but mostly just by ear. And my style now of like that hybrid, you know, I wouldn't say that like I'm a straight chicken picker. I mean, there's, especially in Nashville, I mean, you drop a dime and there's guys that are just like unreal with their timing and their feel and technique. And I guess I kind of have, it is a kind of I mean, it's hybrid picking, but it's a hybrid style where I am doing some of that stuff. But I guess I'm mixing some of my rock influence. I mean, I grew up on, you know, some Skinner stuff too, and all that classic rock and Southern rock when I got into high school. And mixing some of that in with the chicken picking style. And I guess I'm somewhere in the middle. But that the hybrid picking thing, man, I mean, I love that. It's like with, you know, it's with when you're using the pick, but also using these, and you can get some of the coolest different phrasings and sound and rhythms going by using your right hand.
Right. Yeah. And, you know, like, I think that's when I first saw you, like I ran into the viral clip of you, which I think most people have seen at this point who play guitar, like of the viral clip that became, I guess, the song Stomp, which was like the riff for Stomp. But yeah, like I remember like just being kind of like blown away because I went to your page after that and like I checked out some of your other stuff and I'm like, hey, so this guy's a badass guitar player. He's got these like insane country vocals. You know, like you've definitely put in the work to be like what you're just over 30 years old, and you kind of got yourself to this point where your stage presence is just ridiculous, man. So like, good on you. Like, I'm not trying to blow smoke or anything. Like, just I'm really impressed. I don't think people realize how much work goes into it. And some people use the word talent, but then I feel like that kind of takes away from like the effort that goes on behind closed doors. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If that makes any sense to you. So,
yeah, no doubt.
Anyways,
well, I appreciate you saying that stuff, man. That means a lot.
Yeah, no, like I said, I just wanted to get that out of the way. Like, I've just always been blown away by it. So, good on you. And, I guess we can move on to the next question. Those prison gigs. I think I've heard you in a couple interviews talk about it, but I really wanted to, bring that up as well. Like, how did that opportunity come about for you? Can we dive into that a little bit?
We can, yes.
Yeah.
A friend of mine back in 2011, he worked at one of the Pennsylvania state prisons. And he said to me, it was the year I moved to Nashville, and he said, hey man, we're thinking about doing something different this year. Think about having music, country music. Would you ever think about coming in and playing for the inmates? And it's like, no, I hadn't thought about that before. So Johnny Cash, man. And I was like, hell yeah, dude, I'm down. So I went in that first year, and we're talking max security state prisons, right? This is not county stuff. There's 250 inmates on bleachers in the gymnasium, and I'm playing solo acoustic. I brought my speakers and set them up and played in the middle. And dude, it was unreal. You could hear a pin drop in there, and just the connection through the songs, man. The music was unreal, and that kind of spread to all the other state prisons in PA. So my phone started ringing of different prisons wanting to book me to do this. So the following year, I was like, well, I'm going to do a prison tour. I did it for 10 years. And then when COVID hit, that kind of shut everything down, obviously. So that was a good time. It was a 10-year mark. And I haven't done it since. But, man, yeah, I could tell you some crazy stories. But, I mean, they give me like this necklace thing with the button that if anything ever goes down, I'm going to hit that button. Now, I've never had any bad, never had any close calls. But at the same time, you can't forget where you're at. I mean, you're in there with, I mean, it's
Right.
it's no joke. But when you're playing a song, dude, and you're watching like guys crying in the front row, man, it's like been in there for 20, 30 years, and you're singing a song that's taking them to a different place, man, and you get a chance to talk to some of them afterwards. It's powerful, and that's the power of music, man. And guys have said that one of my favorite stories that I tell is I forget which prison it was, but several years back, he said, man, he's like, I got to tell you, I hate country music. I've been in here for 20 years, and those songs just changed my whole outlook on life. And he said, you make me want to go chase my dreams and be a better person whenever I get out of here. And it's like, when you hear, like, as a writer and an artist and a guitar player, when you hear that kind of feedback that your songs have had that much of an impact on somebody that's probably going through the darkest point of their life, there's power in that, man. And so I think that's why I kept doing it year after year.
Right. No, that's pretty cool, man. It's a cool experience for sure. I feel like not a lot of people would have got to experience that. And I know you mentioned like the button on that you had around your neck, but like, were there any other precautionary measures taken like while you were there to ensure like, you weren't like, obviously the guys that were there they weren't going to attack you. They would probably attack another inmate, because they're there to just listen to you play music for the most part.
Yeah, they didn't see me as a threat, right? And
yeah,
if like
exactly,
I was just the guy, I was providing the music and stuff. But at the same time, like this, dude, you never know. I mean, if there's a couple guards in there, right, as I'm playing in case, but you got 250 inmates, man. So if somebody wanted something to go down, dude, it was going down.
Right.
And like, thankfully, I'd never had that. And guys that have since gotten out have come to see me play. This was just a couple months ago. We were playing awesome. A big festival, and I got in the merch stand afterwards. I was doing like a meet and greet, and a guy came up and he was like, hey, man, I saw you in 2014 at one of the Pennsylvania State prisons. And he was like, you came and saw us year after year and played for us. He said, I finally got out and said to myself, it's time I go play. It's time I go see his show outside of the prison. So that was pretty cool, man.
That is pretty cool. Hey, that's fun, man. It's a good opportunity. So I guess, you said that's done now. I'm assuming you're pretty busy with your own tours and shows now, like full time.
Yeah, man, we're on the road. I mean, I've been out most weekends in January so far.
Wow.
So some solo acoustic stuff, some's full band, some I 3-piece sometimes too. If we're it's either 4-piece or 3-piece or solo acoustic.
Very cool, man. That's awesome. Yeah, I've watched quite a bit of your solo acoustic stuff on like YouTube, like especially when I was trying to get ready for this interview and find some stuff out about you. I was just going through all the videos. And it's crazy, like I was saying, man, the energy you bring in those solo acoustic sets, but also when you're in like the 4-piece, 3-piece bands. I've seen a couple of your shows, and it's really good, man. Like, yeah. Anyways, I guess we can roll into the next question if you're good. So I've done, like, for me, I don't know if you ever looked at anything on my channel, maybe not, but.
Oh yeah, dude, I'm a fan of what you do. I love what you're doing, dude.
Okay, so you see me go up to people in public asking them to
yes.
play a riff. Okay, good. Yeah, so for me, I I have like an interest in like business and social media as like business like avenue. So and just researching the power of social media, right? And I really want to deliver that like to other people who are watching social media, just like how important it is to use social media as a musician to get your products, like your music, out to the public. So can we just like dive a little bit into how your viral clip from the Stomp riff helped get your music out there, and how you feel like social media has helped your business kind of in general?
Yeah, man, that's a great question. That Stomp riff, man, and the virality of it changed my career, man. I mean, it changed a lot of things. And what's crazy is you never know what's going to take off. I wrote that riff like 5 years ago or something. And it was in my phone as a voice memo. It's just another, as guitar players, right? We come up with so many different riffs, and some become songs and some don't. And some you play around and you forget them and then you come back to them. Right. And that thing was so random that, I was like, oh man, I forgot about this bit here. And it was so fun to play. And I was playing it and playing it and playing it. I was like, oh, I'm sitting right here when I was like, I'm going to do a video right quick and put this on Instagram. And like a week went by and it was like not moving, and I wasn't really staring at the numbers. And then all of a sudden my Instagram starts lighting up. And it took a life of its own, man. And it was a huge blessing. Such a huge blessing. And that first time it went, I think it's like almost at 8 million, that first video.
Wow.
And then we posted it again, like several months later, and that one's at 7 million. And by that time we had already written Stomp, around it. We were teasing it to reintroduce it. But the power of social media in that video had changed everything for me, and I never would have guessed. I mean, I thought the riff was cool. Don't get me wrong. Like, I loved playing it, but I wouldn't have been like, this thing right here is going to open up some, like, a lot of doors for me. Like, I would have never thought. And that's the thing with music, dude. You never know. So social media has changed my game totally, in terms of that, because it's opened up so many new fans that didn't know who I was, now are following my riffs and then going to listen to my songs on Spotify or Apple or wherever you listen. And some of those riffs are incorporated into songs, and then hopefully, it's like we go to their town and play, and they're there at the show and they bring their friends and stuff. And so it really all stems from that video and the fans and everybody sharing it so many times. And making it go viral.
Yeah, I can imagine. I remember when I saw it on YouTube, and I was able to green screen it, and I was looking for like a filler I could add to, like once a week, add a clip of something I just like, any like guitar riff. And I remember seeing yours. Yours was the first one I posted, and like TikTok, it blew up. It went to like 4 point something million within like no time of your clip. And that's, I think, where you and I first connected, was on TikTok, I think, if I remember correctly. And yeah, I was just like, oh, okay, so maybe I should keep posting these riffs I like seeing, and it's like, I've posted other ones, but yours like definitely has been there's been no other video that I've posted where I just kind of have my face being, hey, listen to this guy, that have done as well as that one. So it's definitely a crazy riff, and it's good you have a full song for it now as well. So and that's, like for everyone, I guess you can mention that now. You can plug it if you'd like, but I know Stomp has been out for a little while, but I'm sure you want to mention that.
Yeah, I mean, that's the song that we wrote based around the riff, the Stomp thing, and it just because the initial video that took off, I was keeping time with my boot on a pedal board case right here, right, and so the title of the caption was "Boot Stomping." That's where the whole thing came from. Okay. And actually, I think the video you're talking about was the Justin Ostrander video when he came in the studio. And so that was long after, like, the original one, like,
oh, really?
Off.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a long time. That was the day we went in and recorded it, and I had no idea he was coming in. And he comes rolling in with his phone. He's like, all right, play me the video, or play me the riff that broke the internet, right? He's just joking because it took off. And so I did it, and I didn't know he was going to post it. So I'm on YouTube one day, and I didn't know it was out there, and it's like, and I stopped, and I'm just flipping through, but I'm like, wait, what the heck? And I'm watching this thing, and it had like 5 million views on that. So yeah, dude, it's just so crazy, man.
Yeah, no, the power of social media is crazy, and I guess we'll roll into that. I had another question, kind of about social media, but it's So I see you're doing the Stomp Challenge. You had the Stomp Challenge with the to get your followers engaged, which I think is great. What are some other tactics, I guess, and techniques you are currently using to increase your platform size? Is this something you're focused on, or are you just focused on making the music?
It's really a mix of everything, man. Is like the guitar stuff. So for those challenges, man, and we're about to do another one. It's going to be the Stomp Challenge 2.0, where it's the solo section.
Okay.
And we're going to partner with Elixir Strings for that. And stay tuned. We'll do a whole thing for it. But
Okay.
it's a mix because those challenges, they're really just for guitar players, right? I mean, you can't enter the challenge if you don't play guitar. So that's just for the folks that are guitar players. Well, there's a lot of people that are following along, right, that aren't players. They're just country music fans, and they like the songs and or the riffs or whatever. So that's the thing. Whereas like the challenges, they're not for everybody, obviously. If you don't play guitar, so it's a mix for me. Is like the guitars, strictly the guitar stuff, but also my music stuff that's out there, the songs that live on the streaming services that you can listen to, the recorded music, as well as mix of personal stuff. That's kind of like that's like the three things really on my Instagram page for one. So it's kind of a hybrid of all those things.
Right. Yeah, I see you do quite a bit of hunting and fishing. I love fishing as well, man.
Yeah, dude, you got some good fishing up where you're at, man.
Yeah, that's not too bad. I got a buddy who's like a fishing fanatic, man, and so in the summer, I luckily when I get to go out a couple times with him on his boat, and he's a big ice fisher as well. So we go out, and last year I went out quite a few times. This year, not so much. But my wife's pretty pregnant at this moment in time, so I'm kind of.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, so I'm a little bit preoccupied at the moment with that, with that and work. So. And this, of course, I'm trying to build out this channel before the baby comes as much as possible to hopefully at some point see some sort of financial success from it. And,
yeah.
So, but anyways, back to the fishing and hunting. Yeah, so you do quite a bit of fishing and hunting as well, eh?
Big time, man. And I post some of that stuff too. It's really a big part of who I am. I mean, I grew up hunting and fishing in the outdoors. So I got one more hunting trip coming up, and then I'm done for the year. So
nice. Yeah, you're just a country boy through and through, eh?
I know, right?
Country music. Just. Okay, and let's roll back to so you're going to be working with Elixir Strings. So how do you end up working with these rather large, I guess, guitar company and music companies? I saw, you have the Stomp Edition Taylor, then you received an Acoustasonic Telly from Fender. First off, good on you. That's awesome, but I think it would be valuable information for other musicians out there with the aspirations, to know, how you go about getting noticed by these bigger brands.
Yeah. Some of those, that's a good question, man. Some of those came through years ago of I think one was through a management company that knew somebody, but most really now, a lot of that is through social media, man. It's just, and it comes from the content. Sorry, hold on 1 second. I gotta put.
Yeah, I think you're good.
Can you get me? You got me?
Yeah. It disappeared for a sec, but now you're back.
A lot with social media, man. It's huge because there is a chance that anybody can partner with. I think these companies. If you're posting, great content and it's reacting. Because really and if you're tagging their product, it's that's marketing. That's really you're marketing their product, right? And the more views it gets and the better the content looks, I mean, that's going to generate, more views highlighting that thing. So for me, though, I've partnered with companies that I've loved their product, so I'm a Telly guy. So I'm a Fender Telly guy. I have 3 of them that I've bought over the past several years. But they all have different pickups in them and they sound different, but I'm a Telly guy through and through. And then on acoustics, I'm a Taylor guy. And I always loved those products long before I ever started working with them. So for me, it was never like, I was never trying to get something for free.
Right.
And I think that's the one thing, as it was never like, oh man, I really hope I can partner with this company so I can get all this gear for free and stuff. I mean, who doesn't want free gear? Of course, yes. But that wasn't the incentive. I loved their product, and the Stomp video worked out where I could really connect with Taylor because I played it on a Taylor guitar. And I think the original one, I had them tagged in the video. And so there was a lot of people that were going right to Taylor guitars. What kind of what Taylor model is that? And they were trying to figure it out. And that helps, that helps any company.
Yeah. Okay. That's, okay. That makes a lot of sense. And I guess, I see there you got 2 tellies hanging behind you, eh?
Yeah, dude. This one's really cool, man. Look at
that.
Look at that.
The gold plated. Yeah, dude. That's awesome. And it's you.
This is from
what year, sorry?
This is 1989, the first year Fender ever did the custom shop.
That's awesome. How'd you get your hands on one of those?
There's actually a good story. So this is number 134 of 300 that they made. And it's the 40th anniversary Telecaster. And I've wanted one for forever, but you can never find them. Every now and then they're on eBay, but they're all beat to hell and they're really expensive. And I was at Guitar Center in Nashville several years ago, and I walked past the Platinum Room, and I was like I could afford anything that was in the Platinum Room, right? And it's like I saw the guitar hanging there, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. That's one of the 40th anniversaries, and I walk in and it's in mint condition. And I'm like, so I get it down. I asked them if I could play it, and I looked at the price tag and I was like, dude, I can't do this right now. There's no way. But I knew if I did, I'd never get another crack at one in brand new condition from '89. So I went home. I told my wife, and she was like, hey, if you gotta have it, then we'll figure it out. And I was like, at that time, I was like barely paying rent. I was like, no, there's no way. There's just no way we could do it. So anyway, a couple weeks goes by, and we were coming up on our first year wedding anniversary. And I opened up my guitar case the morning before a songwriting appointment, just to go over some riffs and get some ideas going. And there it was. And she had got it for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's a super special present, man. That's amazing.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't top that for her. So
yeah, yeah, man. Wow, that's crazy.
But,
my first. Oh, go ahead. Continue.
No, I'm done. No, that was it. What was what do you got?
No, that was my first guitar as well. But it was the Mexican Tele. It was my first guitar ever. It was a Tele, and I always wanted a Strat, and then kind of now that I've always had the Tele, I haven't, I've kind of switched to acoustic, to be honest. I don't really touch my electric much. But, even if I were to buy an electric now, I kind of have a hard time switching off the Tele. Even though I love the Strats, man. Just like what they look like. And the necks are pretty similar. Like, I think they're actually exactly the same as the Tele. But, yeah, I just don't know if I would ever switch off the Teles. Like, you know what I mean? Like, well, I think once you have one, it's kind of hard to switch.
I know, dude. I hear you, dude. Same thing for me.
Yeah. I guess we'll go to the next one. So, I like to ask this question because it's pretty not that invasive in terms of financials. For the first gig you ever did where you were paid for it, how much did you make for your first ever paid gig?
Tips.
Tips.
Nice. That was it. I'm trying to think, dude. I don't know if really it was just tips back in the beginning, man. Here's a funny story for you. One time, this is a long time ago, and one time we were playing in I think maybe Chicago, and somebody came up and gave us a $20 bill to not play because there's there's a game on that we were playing in front of the screen. I don't know why the place we were playing, there's some rat hole bar. They had the game going on, and they had a character. They wanted to watch the game. He came up, and So we took the 20 and then we still played.
Oh, nice. That's actually hilarious. I don't know if that's like rude or hilarious. It's kind of both, I guess. But yeah, if you're there to watch the game and then you got guys standing in front of the screen, they're like, "What are they doing?" But I guess that's the bar's fault, not really your fault.
Oh, I know, it's a long time ago, dude. It's hilarious.
Yeah, jeez, eh? And so like, it's a full-time guitar player. What's it like being a full-time guitar player? Maybe like paint the picture for aspiring guitar players out there, and maybe some stuff you wish you knew before getting into it. But like you said, you've been playing since you were 6, so.
Yeah, that's a good question too, man. I mean, I play pretty much every day, but I don't have like I probably need to practice actually more, than I do in terms of just run. I play so much by ear, man. I'm not really skilled in the theory. I can't read a lot of that stuff. I don't know. There's all kinds of crazy scales and stuff. Like, dude, I don't know any of that really. I mean, I play all by just my hands and feel, and yeah, ear, I guess. But I mean, I write songs most days of the week, and then typically the schedule is I'm writing during the week, and then I'm on the road on the weekend. And somewhere in the middle there is I'm coming up, playing different riffs and stuff, and throwing them online and doing, keeping those riffs going, just random things like that. But the one thing now I feel like that we didn't have is, several years ago is YouTube, man. Like some of these guys like Ostrander, man, who's a good buddy of mine, who's an incredible player. He runs, he posts all, some awesome information and playing stuff and everything on his YouTube channel, man. You can learn so much from that. And Tom Bukovac, who I'm good buddies with. Well, I've done a lot of stuff in the studio with Book, man. He's an animal, and he posts his homeschooling sessions, where he does there's all kinds of it's informational, but he's playing different bits. He's talking about tone, guitar. So there's so much as a player, either new or experienced or whatever. You can learn so much by watching some of these cats, man. There's so much talent out there and information that you can soak up just on YouTube, dude.
Right. And I'm actually kind of impressed, like you said, that you're only going off like your ear and like what you're feeling. You don't actually have that deep of a theory knowledge, because I've heard some of your solos, man, and they rock pretty hard. So
thanks, dude. I mean, I wish to, like I said, truth be told, dude, honestly, I should know a lot more of that, but I can't, I don't, that's why I can't explain it. It's just sometimes I'm like, I don't really know what I'm doing, dude. I'm just playing. I'm just playing, man.
Yeah.
On what I feel like sounds good, and it's that right hand thing, and I'll find some wacky, unconventional way to play something that is a little left-footed. Some of my riffs or solos are just a tick left-footed, whereas it's a little different, but I think that's what makes kind of my sound, I think, a little more unique.
100%. Yeah, no, and that's good, man, that you're sticking to what you do, and you're not trying to recreate someone else's stuff. But in terms of the music industry, you know what I mean? What are some of those things you learned in the music, because you for people who don't know, sorry, I'm going to restart this. You went to the University of Nashville, correct?
Belmont University.
Belmont University for music business, was it?
Yeah, studied entertainment industry, music business. Yeah, so
okay,
a lot
of
my
some
classes.
Of the value. Yeah, okay. So what were some of the things you learned from there that were pretty valuable in terms of now being in the music industry? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Did you learn anything that was that you could use, or was it more once you got into it, then you had to kind of learn the ropes?
Well, it's really both, man. I mean, all my classes were stuff that I'm using now or have used. We had a copyright law, contract law, music publishing, artist management, all those different things that you use every day in town here in Nashville, but there's nothing that beats getting out there and actually doing it. You can learn all you want, by reading a book and stuff, but it's like being on the road, man. It's I learned more from being on the road with 3 guys in a van traveling all across the country than I ever did it, in a classroom, man, and here's a perfect example. one time we played Michigan, maybe I think it was, and we're playing the small bar, but it was packed, only a couple hundred people, and it was just us four on stage. No tour manager, no nothing, right? So it's just us four, and my amp blew out. Okay, and I'm trying to think at like all while this is going on, like, all right, well, I don't have, I don't have somebody that's going to come bring another amp on the stage, and the show has to go on. So you have all these people in the palm of your hand, right? You're giving them a show. You're selling beer. You're doing the thing. And they don't care if your amp went out, right? That's on you. So that's on you to, make that whole thing go seamless and do it on the fly with no tour manager to see what's going on and come do it. So it's literally all on you. So figuring stuff out like that on the fly, there's no replacement for just getting in the trenches, and you're going to stumble, you're going to fall, but that's how you learn those things. And you can't learn that in a classroom. I mean, there's good things that you can learn from going to a school like that and majoring in, the music business, but there's no substitute for getting out and getting in the trenches.
Right. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. I guess more of the stuff you're learning in school is just to keep you out of trouble, like you were saying, for the copyright and whatnot. And then I heard somewhere that you had a professor help you, with a record deal or something. I know that's very vague, but I feel like there was something about that I heard. I just wanted to dive into
that. That was my first record deal. Yeah. My first deal in 2014. She worked at a record company, and I knew she did. And at the school, that class at Belmont, she, the first day of classes, everybody stood up and said what they wanted to do in Nashville, right? What was your goal? You want to be a manager, an artist, a writer, a player. And so, it was my turn. I said that I was on the road most weekends playing, in a van with guys. And I moved to Nashville to be a country artist, and sing and play country music. And I turned in the final on the last day of class, and she said, hey, I remember that you said, first day of class, you were a country artist, but unlike everybody else in this school that knows that I work at a record label, you never jammed any of your music on me like everybody does to try to, she's like, that makes me want to hear what you have. Send me something.
Oh, wow.
And so it's like, so it worked out like, obviously I knew she worked there, but I always thought a lot of those things have to happen organically, man. I mean, you have to be persistent for sure, right? But I thought that it had to happen in an organic way, and it did, and it worked out. And that was my first deal. But yeah, dude, you never know. Nashville's it's a small town for sure.
Right. And hey, do you know, this came off my head. Do you know who Chili Dog is? The guitar player? Chili
Who is
Dog?
it?
His name's Chili Dog.
No.
Okay, anyways, I just came across him about a couple weeks ago, and this guy's just pure, Nashville, I don't know, he's just 100% from Nashville. He's just got this rock music. I posted a video of him, he's chugging a beer while he's playing a solo. Anyways,
oh, wait, that's him?
Yeah, that's so his name's Chili Dog, and he's actually got it written on his guitar, too, on the frets. It's hilarious. He can play, man. He's...
Dude, I saw you post that video, and I've seen that video before. Right. That's insane, but I didn't know that's that guy's name was.
Yeah, so I don't know what I think his name's, I can't remember his real name, but yeah, Chili Dog, man. He can play as well. He's just got that Nashville swag to him. And I guess I got one more for you, talking about the record deals and releasing records. What's that like, going into the studio, recording a record? For you at least, what's your experience been going in, recording a record, releasing it, all the back end stuff with that as well? What's your experience been with that?
Yeah, man. I think that, the number one most important thing is picking the right songs. And making sure that you're recording the right songs when you go in, because you can't record them all, right? It's When we ran and recorded my first record, 15 songs on it, man. We picked from like 300 to 400 songs that I had written over the past several years, and outside, and songs I didn't write. Um, and so it was, now I had, thankfully, I mean, I had a whole team, my management team and label team. They're all part of picking those songs too. So there's a lot of cooks there, that help narrow down stuff. As social media is a huge tool to figuring out what works and not, but picking the right songs is big. And so for me, my process is we'll go in once the band's booked. The studio musicians, who those guys are just animals. They'll hear the song one time and go in and lay it down. I usually don't. I'll play like maybe a little scratch guitar on the day that we track it in the studio, and I'll do the scratch vocal just to placehold where everybody's at. And then, but I don't lay any of my solos or any of my intro riffs during that day. I go back and do that afterwards.
Oh, really? Okay, interesting.
Yeah. So the band will track in there. The band will be rocking. They'll record and land the bass. The bass tracks down, not bass guitar, just like the bass, everything, drums, guitar, bass, and then if there's a steel or keys or something, and then I'm in the control room, man, with the producers listening, and then we overdub all my stuff, where like all my, like I said, intro riffs and any lead parts, and then all the solos I'm doing after the fact. Okay. I'm not as quick as those studio guys, man. They could dial a tone up like that. It's like, I like to take my time and make sure I'm picky to a fault.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I've heard session guitarists or musicians in general just absolutely ridiculous, man. They can just go in and they play like nobody's business. That's what I heard. They're
different. They're a different breed, dude. I mean, they're absolute animals. And it's like they're speaking such a different language. They're on another level.
Right. Yeah. Like I went into a studio once. I had a buddy live down the hall and ended up being I don't know, like a person who has a studio and record, like, what is that, an audio engineer? And he took me into his studio once. We tried to bang out a riff and stuff, and I never really played to a click track. And anyways, it was a pretty big disaster, kind of set me back in my chair, being like, oh, I thought I gotten pretty good at, I could play guitar by myself, no problem. But when you got, other people waiting on you, it's a different story. So,
well, yeah, you have that pressure, right? It's like, there's so much. I feel like there'd be a lot of pressure trying to get the part right when you're holding everything up. It's like, man.
Yeah, 100%. In terms of that, man, that's all the questions I had laid out for you. I don't want to hold you too long, but is there anything you want to shout out for the channel? Let people know about. It's really up to you.
Are you there?
Yep. Oh, did I freeze?
Oh, I got you. Oh, yeah, okay. No, I got you now. Man, just really Stomp. You guys go stream Stomp. Help me out. I appreciate all the support with you guys blowing the riff up. And then, I got all my other music that's anywhere you can find, your music online, any streaming service. But check it out. Be on the search for the new Stomp challenge that's coming soon. That we'll get that rolled out pretty soon. So we're excited about the challenge 2.0. But I'm a big fan of what you do, Alex. I appreciate you having me on, man. I mean, your page is freaking awesome.
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for coming on, and I appreciate that. I'm gonna keep trying to post content. It's kind of, there's 10 feet of snow right now, so I can't really be walking around asking people to play guitar. But I think I might join the Stomp challenge this time around, because I found you had a clip where you like went through the whole like tutorial of how to play it. So yeah. So I think I'd be okay, because I'm a decent finger picker, and I've picked up a pick actually in the last, I'd say probably 8 months. I started getting into bluegrass, and so just trying to learn some riffs, and because I probably been 3-4 years I hadn't touched a pick, because I was just like, you remember Fleetwood Mac, of course.
Oh yeah.
The guitar player Lindsey Buckingham. I just like went through his discography, I guess, or like all his music he played solo, and I just learned every single one of his songs, like the finger picking stuff. So it'd been 4 years I hadn't touched a pick, and now now I've picked up a pick, and I'm like, man, I don't know what I'm doing, you know. So
that muscle memory, dude.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. But no, the last 8 months I've been making some headway. I'm trying to learn some Billy String stuff. I know some people don't like him, but I love him. Like he's
no, I don't know who couldn't like him, dude. He's friggin' he's awesome.
He's got the energy, man. He brings it. Like I think I have an interview with this guy. His name's Lessons with Marcel. He's a bluegrass that's his channel's called Lessons with Marcel. So he does instruction on bluegrass stuff. And I watched a video. He was talking about it's like the guys who are like true bluegrass players have an issue with him because he's not conforming to like the true roots of bluegrass. So he's like almost an imposter. But Marcel's argument's like he's bringing like more eyes to the bluegrass world that was such like a niche market before. And now like since he's come in, a lot more people have learned about him, and myself as well. Like now I'm getting into bluegrass. I'm like, holy shit, man! There's some guitar players in the bluegrass world that like you can't touch those guys, man. They can, and the women. There's this lady named Molly Tuttle. They can play like nobody's business. Like it's crazy. The flat picking, yeah, the flat picking's ridiculous. Like
that's a whole other world, man. That's insane.
Yeah, but. Anyways, I won't hold you too long. Once again, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to talk for the channel, and I hope I can post something nice here for your fans and my fans as well. If I have any, I don't know if I have any fans yet. Well, I got one. I know you like the content, so there we go.
Oh, dude, you got tons of fans. I appreciate it, dude. Seriously, thanks for having me on here and doing what you do.
Yeah, we'll keep in contact. I'm sure there'll be other things that come up, and we'll chat soon. And if I'm in Nashville, I'll snag you for the Do You Play Guitar series for sure.
Seriously, dude, call me, dude. Hit me up on here if you get into town, dude. It'd be badass. We'll grab a beer.
Okay, awesome. Thanks so much, eh?
All right, dude.
Okay, have a good day.
Later.
Okay, bye.